Hello and welcome everyone, it is me, TheLaval, also known as the Power Tool Duelist, back for you faster than usual I guess, but I've just been on Wide Organization and read the new Magikeys cards we are getting in Dawn of Majesty, and to be honest, this deck sounds really cool, so I just wanted to go over it together with you guys and just talk a bit about it. Starting off the main deck, or just the general Magikey lineup, is Magikey Skyblaster Clavis. He's a level 4 Dark Warrior type normal monster. It's 1900 attack, 1900 defense, and his flavor text is that every person is brimming with potential. To go or to stop, to close or to open, depends on yourself. There are many doors in this dazzling world. What opens them is the magical key. 2 keys and 1 door. 2 wills and 1 form. In this door is opened, the world shall be connected, and an enormous power shall reveal itself. First of all, what does that mean for the deck? The deck is of course a bit focused on vanilla monsters, which generally gives you good support options. He also happens to be a Dark Warrior, which is probably still the best type combination we have in the game. So you can already think about things like Allure of Darkness, Reinforcements of the Army, or just Unexpected Die to just get him out of your deck for free basically. But that's not where it stops. Next up we have his Ritual variant, the level 4 Magikey Blaster Battles Buster. It's a level 4 Dark Machine Ritual Tuner effect monster. Level 4 Tuner just exists, I guess. Gives you Synchro access, but I feel like the deck will probably get something for most of the summoning mechanics anyways. It's 2000 attack, 2200 defense. You summon it with Magikey Maftier. And you can only use its first effects once per turn. If it's ritual summoned, you can add a Magikey card from your deck to hand. That's a damn good effect if I've ever seen one. And also, once per turn, when an attack is declared involving this card and an opponent's monster with the same attribute as a normal monster or Magikey monster in your graveyard, you can place any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of the deck, and if you do, negate that opponent's monster's effects until the end of the turn, and draw cards equal to the number of cards you placed. This is interesting and just a main gimmick of the deck, I would say. Every ritual / there's some fusions later down the line, spoiler alert, has an effect that works in conjunction with the attributes of normal monsters or Magikey monsters in your graveyard, which makes this deck seem really interesting, since it not only uses a lot of vanillas, but it also makes a lot of older cards, like especially advanced ritual arts. I'm just guessing that card's insane in this deck. Really good, to be honest. The mulligan effect is kinda neat, just replacing, fixing your hand a bit. Maybe negate an effect that would go off if a monster destroys something by battle. But yeah, he also seems really solid. And then we get to something that seems even more solid. Magikey Cannon Garrisvet. It's a level 8 Earth Machine ritual monster that has 2000 attack and 2800 defense. You can only ritual summon it with the Magikey Maftier, and its second and third effects are once per turn. First of all, against 300 for each monster attribute in your graveyard, which also synergizes with advanced ritual arts and all that. Summon this of advanced ritual arts with 2 vanillas that are different attributes. It's already 26, which is kinda solid. Second effect, when your opponent activates the effect of a monster with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard, and you control this ritual summoned card using monsters with 2 or more attributes, as mentioned, you want to do that. Quick effect, negate the activation if you do destroy that monster. Solid monster negate, requires a bit of graveyard setup, but I feel like especially with advanced ritual arts, that is not really the problem here. And also, if this thing is sent to the graveyard, you can add a Magikey monster from your deck to hand, so it basically replaces itself, not makes you completely go minus, which is also really cool. Next up we have a fusion, as mentioned. This one is a level 4 Dark Beast Fusion Tuner. 2200 attack, 2k defense, takes a Magikey monster and 1 non-token normal monster. First effect is once per turn. If this thing is fusion summoned, add 1 Magikey Maftier from your graveyard to your hand. This Magikey Maftier, by the way, is not only your ritual spell, but also your fusion spell, which is really cool because you can fusion summon this, add it back, and then maybe go for a ritual play. Second effect, once per turn, target an opponent's attack position monster with the same attribute as a normal monster or Magikey monster in your graveyard, change it to defense, and if you do, it loses 1000 defense. Not as spicy as the previous effects, to be honest. But this definitely helps you get over bigger monsters, and this third effect makes this a bit more sweet, since every monster that gets destroyed by this thing in battle is banished, which lets you work around a myriad of graveyard effects and all that good stuff. And also makes the monster harder to reach for your opponent again. So yeah, and then we have the second fusion. We have the Magikeys Summon Dragon Adrabimus. It's a level 8 Wind Dragon fusion. 2800 attack, 2000 defense, takes Magikey effect monster and one non-token normal monster. When it's fusion summoned, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects, so you basically just have to solemn it in response to instantly to the summon, I guess. If I'm not completely wrong on that PSCT here, feel free to correct me in the comments, by the way, but I feel like this only stops bottomless. It's the same situation with the Doremic Chord scale effects, I guess. Once per turn, target a normal monster or Magikey monster in your graveyard, destroy all monsters your opponent controls with the same attribute. I was reading this, and if this would be a quick effect, this would be so insane. But it's still great, because it's still basically a free board wipe against most decks. Since most archetypes have one cohesive attribute anyways, and you can basically work around that with including more attributes of normal monsters, which is really cool. Third effect, once per turn, if an opponent's monster with the same attribute as a monster in your graveyard is destroyed by battle or card effect, you control this fusion summoned card using 2 or more attributes as material, you can draw a card. Works with your second effect, so it's really cool for that. Just run anything over. If you made this with 2 or more attributes, you're good to go, basically. Yeah. And then we come to the Magikey Math tier. As mentioned, this is basically your fusion and ritual spell. It lets you fusion summon a Magikey fusion from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, or ritual summon a Magikey ritual monster from your hand by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. But if you control a normal monster, you can also send a normal monster from your deck to the graveyard as fusion materials or as one of the required ritual materials. Absolutely amazing. Sending from deck for fusions and rituals is probably one of the best kinds of fusion / ritual summoning, and this deck alongside with advanced ritual arts is really able to take advantage of this, which seems so good, to be honest. But it doesn't stop there, because we got a field spell, and it's the best kind of field spell. It's the kind of field spell that when you activate it, you add a Magikey monster from your deck to hand. So it gives you more ways to get to your clevers and just to your rituals as well. So it's really cool for that. Also, it protects each normal monster you control. The first time they would be destroyed by battle or card effect, except tokens. So neat bit of protection here for maybe your clevers while you just have him on the board, or just another normal monster. Also, during your main phase, you can add 1 Magikey Math tier from your deck to your hand, then place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. Not really a big deal, let's face it. Grabbing Math tier is of course amazing. Placing a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck, man, just place one of your normal monsters that you don't want to see because you run them as fodder for advanced ritual arts or your Math tier back into the deck. So yeah, this is definitely an insane field spell. Then we have Connected Magikey, a normal trap card that lets you target a normal monster or Magikey monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand, and then you can apply one of these effects. Fusion summon a fusion monster from a Magikey fusion monster from your extra deck in defense using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, or ritual summon 1 Magikey ritual monster from your hand in defense by tributing monsters from your hand or field whose total levels equal or exceed the level of the ritual monster. Just quick play fusion summoning or ritual summoning. Currently, with the lineup we have, this doesn't seem too insane. Maybe grab something on your opponent's turn with your Batis Buster, but I feel like that is already the extent of it. Maybe if we see further support for the deck, this will turn into a really good card, but in general it seems like there's untapped potential here. And then closing off the deck is a classic Magikey Lock Unlock, a counter trap card that lets you, when your opponent activates a spell or trap card while you control a Magikey Ritual or a Magikey monster, special summon from the extra deck, negate that activation if you do destroy that card, and then you can declare one attribute, and if you do, all face-up monsters your opponent controls become the declared attribute until the end of this turn. This is not only a really solid counter trap, to be honest. Just negating a spell or trap is really good because you just need to control one of your rituals and fusions, and let's face it, they're not hard to get to. But it also helps you set up your attribute related effects. Maybe the pop effect of Adrabimus, even though that's not really opponent's turn related, but the negate for Garrisvet definitely sees a bit more flexibility there, because you can just swap the attributes and negate whatever you want. So yeah, in general, this does seem like a really spicy archetype that can make use of a lot of good cards. I've been talking about advanced ritual arts a lot. Seems really good in the deck because it basically ensures that you summon the Garrisvet with the negate effect. Unexpected die definitely seems also really good, and that's basically just things that pop into my head right now. As mentioned, you're working with darks, you're working with warriors, so you can make some plays with Allure or Rhoda, and also your field spell is insane. You have a lot of consistency already in these few cards, and I feel like if we get this already sounds really, really solid. But it can only get better, let's face it. Maybe additions to the extra deck lineup, since the counter trap is currently generic for extra deck monsters, for Magikey extra deck monsters, and you have 2 tuners which currently have no other targets, in archetype targets. Even though those tuner levels are really good, makes you able to go into maybe Boros Savage and all that good stuff. So yeah, Magikeys sound really solid, and yeah, I'm kinda tempted to pick this up myself once they drop. So let me know in the comments down below what you think of this new archetype which will come to us in Dawn of Majesty. Maybe you have some ideas for tech cards, or maybe I don't know. Just let me know what you think, what you might think will be good with or in this deck, and I will thank you guys very much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys again next time. But until then, goodbye.